segment at the very end where you can ask a question or make a comment, but you can leave your hand up for now, or you can put it up later on, and then I'll give you an opportunity to say something. All right, over to you, Sandy.
Great, thanks once more, Fiona. So once again, my name is Sandy Simagwali, and I'm the CEO of Meat in a Box. And many years, Meat in a Box, we help homeowners have access to high quality meat. And how we go about this is that we've developed a mobile app which enables homeowners to order their meat products and have them delivered to their doorstep. Beyond that, we are also providing other key products from the range of spices, and also looking to expand into vegetables. Right now, we're currently serving only in Lusaka, Zambia, and that's pretty much about it with Meat in a Box. Beyond that, I also have a full-time job. I'm actually working as a general trade sales manager, Clover, a multinational dairy brand in Africa.
Oh, sorry, Sandy. I think you muted. I don't know what happened there.
Okay. Don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Where do I continue from?
You were saying that it is based in Lusaka, and then.
Okay. So yes, like I was saying, Meat in a Box is currently only serving Lusaka, in Lusaka, Zambia. Looking forward to expanding other key regions. Sorry. Okay. So to really get into the question, I definitely believe I'm an entrepreneur. And mainly to differentiate the difference between an entrepreneur and small business owners is with entrepreneurs, mainly you get to find they're innovative and really will take on unknown and unforeseen risks. They get to be trailblazers, and they really want to offer their customers something that they've never seen before. Mostly will get to be very passionate about the vision that they're trying to achieve, and are more focused to creating the next big thing. And usually compared to business owners, they're more, even though they sometimes are called entrepreneurs, but they're more inclined to take safer investments, which almost guarantee a return. And you get to notice some of the businesses that they get to venture into key things like franchise and other key businesses that they venture into. But just to answer the question, there's quite a difference between an entrepreneur and a small business owner. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Sandy. So let me just say cheers to you expanding to other regions. We shall be waiting for you over here as well, because yeah, I mean, creating this app meat, I feel like that's a conversation for another day, like why meat? But no, I'm sure there was a need that you identified, but let's get into raising money specifically. So, you know, I want to start a business, or I want to start this huge venture, and I'm ready to raise funds. Okay. What are my options? Where do I start? Let me go to Leah first. Like, what do I do? What do I do at that point?
Okay. So before I go on, Sandy, I will have our team in Zambia contact you so you can join our accelerator program for 2022. We definitely do love an innovative business, and we do have a team in Zambia. So my colleague will be contacting you after this. So be ready. So in terms of, you have the idea, but you don't have funding. So usually what happens if you want to start a business, you have an idea, you don't have funding, it's very difficult to raise funds just having an idea. So the best avenue, first of all, is usually raising some money from your friends and family. You have to be very clear about the idea, draw out the business model. How are you going to make money? What problem are you solving in the market? Who exactly is going to be your customer? That has to be very clear, and you need to explain it in a very simple way. If anybody asks you, you should have like a sentence that you can say that this is what my business does. We provide a solution for these people, and this is how we make money. And the first step would be either to use your own funds or to raise funds from friends and family. That's one way. If you don't have that, you can actually join an incubator program. So we have programs like MEST, we have programs like Ariel for Africa. They have some programs there So in each of the countries, we have a lot of incubators that have actually become very aggressive in the market. So that's another angle that you can look at. If you have a very good idea, but you don't have any funds, then that's where to start. Usually, if you're looking for big investment that you want over $100,000, over $1 million, nobody will fund it if you have not tested it. So the best way is to, first of all, find somebody to fund it. If it's not your close family and friends, go into an incubator program where you can actually have a structured way to create what we call a minimum viable product, which is an MVP, or a structured way to test the product. Once you've tested the product, usually some incubators will actually give you some kind of funding. The other way to do it is you could find 2 or 3 friends who are also passionate about what you want to do. And then if they have funds, they can also bring it on board. And at least make sure you have your first 10 customers before you try to go further into looking for funding. But don't try to go to a bank for something that is not started completely, because that's an extremely high risk and nobody will come and fund you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think you touched a lot of important things there. One of the things that you said about, can you state, what your business is in like a sentence or two? I feel like there's always like, what is this business about? And there's that, it's this and it's that, and you need to have a very clear, thing that you can tell someone that you're hoping is going to fund you. And this is what I do. This is like 1, 2, 3. What do they like? An elevator pitch, that quick da 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 da, and people are convinced. Like even you, when you hear it, you're like, this sounds amazing. My idea is amazing. So I mean, that's an important one to take with us. Also, I think, because you talked about incubators quite a bit, I think a lot of us may not be taking advantage of that. I think we should all be doing a lot more research on what kind of opportunities for like that are in our regions or in our countries, so we can take advantage. I mean, maybe you have a brilliant idea and there's an incubator that's looking for that type of idea and can get you started. So there's something to be said for also researching on what kind of avenues we can utilize, because not everyone, you may just have the idea and you have nowhere to start. So let me go to Sandy. So you're doing this meat in a box. Actually, let's start with like your own experience. Like, how did you raise funds to get meat in a box started? Oh, I think you're muted.
Okay, great. Thank you once again, Fiona. So I think how we got started with meat in a box, firstly, was self-funded. So through working currently in employment, so I actually use like about 50% of my salary, which I invested in the business to get it started. Didn't raise any external funding when we started. And mainly as we were growing, we were generating the profits, pushing back the profits back into the business to, actually build more systems for the business. So pretty much that's how we got started with meat in a box. And also some friends and family who came on board and actually put in some substantial amounts of cash in the business that even helped us grow even further. So just to answer the question, that's how we got started with meat in a box. So coming back to your question now, how does one prepare to get funding? I think for an entrepreneur, it's critical for you to have a clear vision of what exactly you're trying to achieve. I think that's the best way to start. I think that's the foundation to start in regards to raising funding. Because I think it's very unfair to expect someone else to invest in a company that even you yourself are not convinced about the vision that you're trying to achieve. And mostly investors will often or are very passionate about entrepreneurs who exactly know what they're trying to achieve and are most inclined to work with them, even though there are some pieces that are missing in the business. I think with a clear vision, it puts you in a much better position to actually raise the capital that you need. So having a clear vision is one of the most fundamental things that an entrepreneur needs to get started whilst they want to raise funding. Another key thing that an entrepreneur needs to look into if they want to raise funding is really getting to know the market that you're going into. So this is something actually put in place before we started Meat in a Box. We really just wanted to know what exactly are we going against, what exactly is in the market, who's our customer. how does the e-commerce sector look like? And maybe for an entrepreneur out there looking to raise capital, it's also good and essential for you to really know what you're getting yourself into the market. What is the market size? There's actually right now it's very, I would say, not being in a position to know all this information is your fault, because we have information right at the tip. Like, you can easily access this information online, and mainly also through other resources. So really getting to know your market is, I think, one of the other key fundamental things an entrepreneur needs to look into to raise funding. So pretty much, I would say that those are some of the essential key things an entrepreneur needs to look into to prepare themselves.
All right, thank you for sharing that. Just something that I think I have discussed myself, at least even with my own friend groups, about like funding your business from your job, from your what we call a day job. And that's there's something also to be said for that, because there's a lot of we're in such a gig economy type thing now, and everybody wants to do have a side gig where they are a side business. I guess that's where a lot of small business owners come in, that they use some of their money to maybe start this and that, many things, or maybe they start this one thing, like you have, I'm going to do this thing and I'm really going to focus on it. So I think sometimes we make it, I'm one of those people who left my job to start doing what I do, but I always tell people it's not that romantic, it's not oh my God, then you leave your job and wow, and everything is so amazing. I saved and I planned in advance for the things that I wanted to start doing. And I think it's important to not feel like you have to leave your job immediately. You could be doing your job as you start, or you could be saving as you research for this vision that you have. Okay, so thank you for that. Let's see, we're about 20 minutes in, so we usually have a quick trivia session. If you haven't been with us, it really is that simple. It's just a couple of trivia questions. If you have the answer, just be the first to put up your hand, or the first to switch on your your audio and just say the answer, okay? And everybody can participate, whether you're a guest or you're a part of the audience. It's for absolutely all of us. Well, except me, who knows the answer. I'm not part of it. Okay, so let me ask Franklin to share the screen for our trivia. And also, guys, if you're not talking, please keep your mic off so that we can ensure everybody just gets the best out of this. They can hear everything that's happening. Okay, so let's get into the trivia. Franklin, let's go to the first question. Okay, the first question is, it's a riddle. Okay, so sorry, you measure my life in hours, and when I serve you by expiring. I am quick when I'm thin. I'm quick when I'm thin and slow when I'm fat. The wind is my enemy. Who am I? Oh, I see Brian's hand is up. Brian, do you want to give us the answer? No, Brian, it's not fire, but close. Fire is a hint. Charles got it. It's a candle. All right, thanks, Charles. So let's move on to that. How did you get that so quickly? Anyway, okay, so it's a candle, served by expiring. All right, so the next one, Franklin, let's switch. So the next one is, what is the name of the volcanic valley that runs from the Sinai Peninsula to central Mozambique? The hint is that this is very easy and you all know the answer. You're just overthinking it. A volcanic valley that runs from Valley is the hint. I promise you're going to be sad when you realize you did not answer this one. It's so easy. No one? Hey, you guys. All right. We are now all going to be sad. Franklin, let's show them the answer. This is the Rift Valley. Hey, guys, aren't you sad? Aren't you sad? Oh, Judy, I see your answer. I don't know if it came in before or after, but it is the Rift Valley, guys. We just put it in those fancy terms, but it's really just the Rift Valley. Okay, so the third question, Franklin, is, now this one is for people who are keeping tabs on what's happening right now. who recently made the news when she became the youngest woman to circumnavigate the globe solo. Has anybody been reading the Times online? Because that's actually where I found this. There is a young lady, that's a hint, a young lady who has become the first to circumnavigate. I beg your pardon?
Zara.
Is that it? Like that's your answer? Just Zara?
Zara Rutherford.
All right, Franklin, let's go to the answer. Yes, Brian, it is indeed Zara Rutherford, 19, who has become the first woman to circumnavigate the entire globe. So, I mean, that's really cool, right? 19 makes you think about your life goals, huh? But don't worry, it's okay. We still have time. We still have time to do amazing things. It's fine. So that's the end of our quick trivia. It's just a session to get you knowing a couple of things here and there. I know I get a lot from it. I have like random things to bring up in conversations. Okay, so let's move along to the next thing. So, so there's these different ways of raising money for your business, right? And so what I want us to talk about is how to identify what fits you, you know, because of course, there are so many different types of business. I mean, even now talking about entrepreneurship being different from owning a small business, even those two things are so varied. So how do I identify the right fit for me? Let me let Leah get us started on that one.
You mean the right fit in terms of a funder?
Yes, finding the right kind of funding. Yes,
the right kind of funding for your business.
Yeah.
So definitely you have to be very careful when you are choosing who to fund your business, including family and friends. So the first thing you have to identify is how much money do you need, and then what kind of organizations or what kind of bodies would give you this amount of money. And then the second thing, you have to look at those organizations. What kind of businesses do they fund? So for example, if you're even looking at an investment organization, a venture capitalist, what kind of businesses have they funded before? Are you in their sweet spot, what you call a sweet spot for an investor? Because you will find that investors and funders usually have a trend that they go towards. So if they don't fund your kind of business, then you don't fit with them. You also want to look at their values and your values. You want to see at their investment structure. Sometimes somebody will invest in you and ask for quite a chunk of equity. So are you willing to dilute some of your ownership, and to what level? So you want to find out all those things. Some funders are bullies. You'll even find that some people you bring on your board of advisors, they will ask for equity. They will ask for an unfair amount. So before you even go to look for funding, you have to understand the value of your company. You can't understand the value of your company if your business is not well structured, okay? So even from the point where we're saying you're going to look for funds from family and friends, every amount of money you're putting in your business has to be recorded, has to be monitored, has to be tracked, has to be reported. And remember, this reporting, you're not doing it for external people, you're doing it for yourself, so that you're able to track how your business is growing. By the time you come to look for funding, you are able to work with maybe an investment analyst or an advisor to help you understand what is the value of your business at the point where you're trying to raise funding. Then they will help you to determine how much money you need for the business. Sometimes we look for funding based on expenses. I need to pay salaries. Salaries usually cost me this much. I need to pay rent. I need to pay this. But when somebody offers you money that just covers your expenses and is asking for 20% of your business, down the line later, you'll start regretting, because you'll find out that you gave up too much equity, you know? So before you even go that far to even understand who is the right fit, you have to understand your business, understand what is your financial architecture, what is the value of your business at the point where you're trying to start raising funds, and then understand who are the people or who are the investors in the market that can invest in you. How do they invest? What is their behavior? What are their values? Who do they usually like to invest in? about how much money do they usually give. So this you can find out from talking to other businesses. Usually in the news, you'll find that, oh, these guys raised this amount of money from these people, and you can have conversations. So as an entrepreneur, you have to make time also to network within these investment networks with other entrepreneurs, find out who's raising money from where, how did they get that money, and this is where now you get your intelligence. But you must never be too quick to go and look for funds. You must always understand your financial situation overall, not just understanding profit and loss, not just understanding your expenses. You must understand your business in the full context. And like Sandy said, understand the market value, understand the market, what is the potential of this business that you're dealing with. And that will also help you to create a good valuation before you even start going to raise funds, before you even start trying to see who is a match for your business. Sometimes you'll find that the person is a good match, but after they give you the funds, they want to control everything. You don't have any say in your own business. And we've had these situations where even the founders have been kicked out, and the business later went to these people who we call the funders. So it's very critical to look at that.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I feel like I should not even say anything. So much wisdom has been shared. I hope you guys are actually taking notes.
Hello.
There's quite a bit to learn there. Okay, sorry, I think someone had put on their mic for a second there. All right, yeah, there's quite a bit of things to learn there, some things to note down, especially if you are in this process or if you are starting over, whatever you're doing. I think there are a lot of points there to pick out. I think it keeps coming up that you need to really know. You need to know what is going on in your business, not just what you plan to do, but also what does your structure look like? Does that structure accommodate this and that before you start bringing in people who will give you these conditions and possibly end up taking over or giving you X amount that doesn't make sense for your long term. There's so many little things to consider. So I really hope you're taking notes. This is one of those sessions where I hope that you came with your notebook because there's just a lot to learn. So let me also ask that same question to Sandy. Maybe you can also first share from your experience raising money for your own business. You already talked a little bit about getting money from your salary, from your 9-to-5 to invest in your business. When you were figuring out, how you want to fund this, like what was your process? Like what did you put into consideration as you were selecting this specific way to raise funds for your business?
Thank you once more, Fiona. So in regards to that, many one must start a meeting in a box. We looked into the option of being self-funded based on the fact that we couldn't be we're not even in a position to approach a venture capital firm. And this is based on experience for a previous startup that I was running called Graft. We approached the VC and we wanted to raise a huge amount of money. And clearly they told us no. And they gave us reasons. We're even lucky they gave us reasons. Most VCs will not get in touch with you if you're an early stage startup. But they gave us reasons saying, look, you don't have traction as of yet, and pretty much the revenue that you are generating is not exactly the type of revenue we're looking into as a VC. So it's very critical as well as an entrepreneur to know exactly where you need to start. For an early stage startup, I think the key options that you have is being self-funded. Grants and competitions, those can be actually other platforms as an entrepreneur you can utilize to raise the capital you need. But as well, just to highlight with what Leah had shared, I think it's very critical as an entrepreneur to know the amount of money that you actually need. Because I think not knowing the amount of money that you need really raises doubts for even the investor to give you money, because they actually don't know how best you're going to spend the money and exactly what you need the money for. So it's very critical that you actually know what you need and how that money will be spent once it's actually invested in the business. So there are quite a number of options: being self-funded, bank loans. If you're going to consider bank loans, I think with banks, they're more on the safer side. They're looking for more safe investments. So if you're going to go that route, I think if you have options to provide, which is collateral that, you know, meets and fits the bank's requirements, it puts you in a good position to raise capital from the bank. You know, obviously with the venture capital firms, once you've built the traction, you've got a proper MVP that you're running, and at least you have a good value proposition, and you actually have good traction and meet the requirements. Because again, with VCs, you actually have to also do your homework as well, find out which businesses they're investing in, and if you actually meet the criteria, put you in a good position if you do meet the requirements to actually even approach VCs and raise capital. So those are some of the, and also angel investing. So there's another option for angel investing, talking to high net worth individuals who are able to give you money from their own pocket and invest in your business. These are people who just believe based on the fact that you've convinced them about your vision, and also how your market size looks like, and pretty much the total addressable market. So those are some of the options that you can actually look into as an entrepreneur to raise capital.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. I think even the fact that you've tried, that you've done both, you know, self-investing or self-funding, and also looking for funding from somewhere else, really gives you, I think, a broad understanding, since you've actually experienced some of those things. So again, guys, better be taking notes, okay? Let me just go to the comments real quick. Poya is asking, first time here, will this be available to us later? Yes, Poya, this is available. We save these to our Facebook, One Young Africa, and our YouTube as well, One Young Africa. I'll ask my colleague to leave the links for our social media, because these are available on all the streaming platforms. Okay. All right, I see a question. I think for the questions, I'll get into them after. And also, if you want, you can direct probably some of these questions to our guests. But I'm going to get into the questions after we go through some of the points that we had here. But yes, so you can keep on sharing your comments here in the comment section. All right, so another thing I'd like us to get into, I mean, we already discussed this, maintaining a 9-to-5 alongside your business. Now, I know that that's something it's workable for some types of businesses, but also it's not for some. You know, for some things, it's like, you know, you go all the way. But what I want us to try and help our audience with, or help us understand, is if I have a 9-to-5, right, and I want to start a business, what kind of things should I be thinking about? Like, for example, I want to start a 9-to-5 and I want to keep my 9-to-5. Actually, what Sandy is doing, I guess we'll start with you, Sandy, since you're doing exactly that. You have a 9-to-5 and you're running a business, right? How are you, I mean, you know, how are you making that work? I mean, in terms of both time and money. In any case, time in itself is money. So how is the question, how?
Okay, thank you once more, Fiona. I think in that regard, I'll mainly start to say it comes down to how bad you want it. Before I go into how bad you want it, really determines how you work around your 9-to-5 plus your business. But again, it's very essential for you as an entrepreneur that even as you have a 9-to-5, as you have your business that you're running on the side, it's also essential for you to realize that that's what's helping you raise the capital you need to push your business further. So you have to bring your A game in both fields, on your 9-to-5 and your side business. Ensure that there's no conflict in both avenues. And that's why when you are on your 9-to-5, give your excellence at your 9-to-5. When you knock off, it's now time for you to focus on your business. Give your A game on your business as well. So in regards to balancing, it's also essential for an entrepreneur to also build a team. So most cases you will not, there are a lot of aspects that you need to put in place to run a business, and you will not, most cases you have a hard time, you know, if you are the only person in the business doing the marketing, the sales, the logistics, whatever departments that really help your business move forward. It will be a hard time for you if you have a 9-to-5, and that's why it will be something to look into to really build a team that can really enable you, whilst you're carrying out your 9 to 5, things are still moving, you know, customers are still being in a position to purchase whatever it is that you're offering. So pretty much, I think that's one of the ways you can balance a 9 to 5.
All right, thanks, Sandy. So let me also ask Claire like a different version of the same question. Because you work with different businesses, and you know helping them figure it out, essentially helping them figure it out. What's your view? What's your view on doing both or on selecting one? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I got you broke a bit, but you're asking what are my thoughts on doing a 9 to 5 and also running your business.
Yes. What are your thoughts on doing both? Do you maybe feel that taking on just one is better, or is that doing both better? Like, what are your thoughts on that whole dynamic?
I mean, I guess it depends on, first of all, an individual and how driven they are and how much they want what they want. But I think that if you want your business to grow, you must give yourself a timeline, because definitely the 9 to 5 could be a way to fund the business that you're trying to develop. So you could give yourself a timeline that, okay, for the next 2 to 3 years, I'm going to have my 9 to 5 while I structure my business, while I acquire some key customers, while I build a good team. And then by the end of the 3 years, then I'll move directly to full-time. Remember also, when you move to full-time, give yourself a time. So most people, when they start the business, you have to see what's the end of the business. Are you going to sell it? Are you going to get investors? Are you trying to drive it to IPO? You know, so we need to also have that dream to, where will the business end up? Or are you going to leave it for your children, which means you're building a dynasty kind of business or a legacy kind of business. So you also have to think about that. So your business is your baby. So you are thinking about the different stages of your baby. So I would not say that doing a 9 to 5 and doing business is not good. It's difficult. It's very difficult. But at some point, your business will require you there. Because from our experience, where the founders are not directly involved in the business full time, you might end up with challenges. You might hire a team that they might end up stealing. They don't know exactly how to communicate to customers the way you would communicate to customers, because this is your baby. We've had instances where someone wants to send somebody to represent them at the accelerator program, but that's not the owner of the business. They're not the vision carrier, so they will not represent you the same way. They will not have the same passion for the business that you have. So you might give yourself the 3 years or 2 years to do the 9 to 5. While you're doing that, whatever you're investing in the business, you are recording. This is the time you can also be to set up your policies, your financial policies, your workflow processes, because a lot of businesses start and forget to do this. Then later, 5 years down the line, when you're now trying to raise funding and they're asking you for all these diligence documents, you do not have them. So it's also a strategy that you can use when you're doing your 9 to 5 and you're just starting out. You can use that time to set up your business structures. And those structures can actually be used by the team. So if you set up your processes really well, you hire a team, they follow the processes to the letter, including reporting to you, so that by the end of the day, if you're doing your 9 to 5, when you come home, you're able to look at the reports, you're able to look at your financial reports, your production reports, and then you're able to make a decision for the next day. Then that is a good, because Sandy mentioned you do have to have a good team. But if they don't have processes to follow, if they don't have reporting systems to work with, then you don't have a good oversight of your business while you're doing your 9 to 5. So it's all a matter of planning and how determined you are, how driven you are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I definitely think there's probably someone who needed to hear, to hear exactly that, what you shared and what Sandy shared, because I know it's something also people struggle with. Should I keep both? How do I do that? But I think the fact that you both talked about the goal is very helpful, because when you know what type of end game you're looking for, then it will help you figure out, am I going to have a 3-year plan, until exit point where I'm going to just exit and fully commit to the business? Or, what do you want this thing to look like in the next 5, 6, 10 years? Will really help you figure out all these different things. So next thing I really want us to talk about is just failing. because I mean, yeah, these things are going to happen. You're going to approach this person or approach that entity, or, and try to raise funding here and raise funding there. And it's not always going to work out precisely the way you hope. And, how do we deal? How do you deal with that? Do you maybe have multiple things that you're, trying to attack at the same time? So if this one fails, the other one works out, how should we be managing that? I mean, first of all, just managing the expectation, because it's not always going to work out exactly the way we think. And when it doesn't work out, how do we proceed? So let me start with you, Sandy. I know you already talked about how you approached these other people for funding and that didn't work out. How did you deal with that, and how did you get back up?
Thank you once more, Fiona. So I think as an entrepreneur, you are most likely to actually encounter, I wouldn't call it failure, lessons. I would like to call them lessons, because Ray Dalio says challenges are opportunities wrapped up to make us better. So mostly the challenges that you face, it's up to you whether you see them as obstacles or, I would rather you utilize such challenges as opportunities to become better. So I think it all comes down to how powerful your vision is. If you clearly see where you want your business to be, if you write down, I want my business in the next 5 years to be, if I'll put it, for example, meat in a box to be to ensure that homeowners have high access to high quality meat across Africa. If anything in that line does not really meet what exactly the vision has been laid out, it's a clear indication that you as an entrepreneur, you need to show some form of persistence, even though failure does come your way. So failure is something that will always come your way, but at the end of the day, how strong your vision is will really carry you through to ensure that even with whatever it is you go through, you're definitely gonna come out of it. I usually take a quote from Will Smith's new book, and I'll share it. Says there has to be a little bit of crazy, because you have to believe something that there's no evidence for, and then you have to devote your life to something that not only is invincible but highly unlikely and potentially impossible. But you have to believe it wholeheartedly, because you can't achieve if you don't believe wholeheartedly. So yeah, has to be a sliding scale of naivete to full insanity, but somewhere in there is a sweet spot for dream manifestation. So the vision is really important as an entrepreneur, and to help carry you through even when you face challenges and failure. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. You really came through with that inspiration, my friend. You really came through with that inspiration. I like that part of a little bit of crazy. I always tell people that you need to have a little bit of a rebel in you to take certain risks. And I know dangerous things are often quite fulfilling. I'm not saying go and run into the fire, guys, but yeah, a lot of things that we want to do that seem scary and seem impossible, that, yeah, you're going to fail sometimes, are often, when you do, learn and get up and do all these things, quite fulfilling. It's quite fulfilling. So let me take that same question to Leah. Again, because Leah, you've worked with different businesses, and I'm sure, maybe sometimes people have this hope, this is where I'm going to get my money from, and it doesn't work out. What do you advise when that type of thing happens to them or to any other business? I've tried to get this type of funding, that's not working out. Should they be maybe trying different things at the same time? Just your professional opinion on how to do that.
Thanks, Fiona. So first of all, hope is not a strategy. So we can't apply hope. You can always believe in yourself and your business, but you cannot apply hope to strategy. So what I usually say, fundraising is just like sales. So first of all, every entrepreneur has to be a salesperson. You have to have sold your product. You have to have sold your product. Bring yourself to a point where you know that you can get recurring revenue from your business. And that is your proof. And that actually gives you confidence. Because if you've not sold and somebody said, okay, yes, and they gave you the money and you are shocked, oh, wait a minute, they're giving me a check for this product or they're giving me a payment for this product, you don't have that confidence yet. So there's a very big difference between the person who has not sold anything and the person who has sold. So I would say that first of all, work on your salesmanship to sell the product. So in sales, you're selling the product. Then in fundraising, you're also selling your business. Now, for any salesperson, you know that if you go for 10 sales meetings, you get 9 no's and 1 yes. That's usually the statistics. You get 9 no's and 1 yes. So anytime you're going into fundraising, anytime you're going into sales, expect the no's. And when the no's come, you know that, okay, I'm targeting 10, I've got 1 no, so 9 more no's to go, and then I'll get my yes. So that's the approach you take. And this is just business everywhere. You will get the rejections. Like Sandy said, some people will not even give you feedback and tell you that, oh, we don't fund this kind of, they just ignore you or start ignoring your calls. So you just know that, okay, that's a no, and then you move on to the next. There's no time to sit down and feel sad or be hoping or whatever. It's a strategy. You have a target list, you know the people that you are trying to talk to, you have everything prepared in terms of your sales documents. So you know when you're selling a product, you have your brochures, you have your flyers, you have everything about the product. The same thing if you're selling your business. You have all the documents in place, you have your value proposition, like Sandy said, you have your power pitch or your sales pitch. So you know exactly what you're going to do. And you know that out of your target list of 60, you're going to get 6 yeses, and you just continue. The more no's you get, you continue adding to your target list, you continue fundraising, or you continue doing your sales. Yeah. Eventually, the yeses will come. I mean, we have big businesses, like, for example, last year we were talking to the founder of Cellulant. Cellulant is a big payments business that started in Kenya and now is across Africa. And they just raised, I think, their Series D, which was about $400 million. And in that year that they were raising that, the founder told us that we had 400 meetings to raise that amount of money. Yeah. So you can imagine how many no's have come out of those 400 meetings. So you have to look at it in that way. It's a very strategic game. And that's why, like Sandy said, also build a very good team, because when you start fundraising, it becomes a full-time business. So you need to build a very good team. Your systems have to be in place so that your business is running. Your customer base has to be strong, so you have recurring revenue to at least cover your expenses. And then now you focus on raising the funds that you need for growth and for expansion.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So sales is what I really, is what I wrote down in my mind. You need to be a salesperson. Always, you're always selling something, even when it's not the product, you're selling your own business. You're telling people my business deserves XYZ because, and reasons. And it really is a full-time thing. I think also you talking about that out of every 10 opportunities, there'll be 9 no's and 1 yes. Yeah, going knowing that, guys, there's going to be a whole lot of no's. There's going to be a whole lot of no's, and you have to have a great team, a very clear vision. There's those points that I know you guys, that both Sandy and Leah have kept bringing up that are, I mean, I think they just cut across. It's you can't not have a clear vision and expect, growth or, longevity and all these things. So vision.
And when you get the no, Fiona, when you get the no, record why you got the no, and then go and work on that so that it doesn't become a no the next time.
Okay.
So you have to also keep records.
Yeah, turning the no's into lessons, and so you can upgrade for the next pitch. Okay, so I hope you're writing notes, guys. Please write these notes. But anyway, also this will be saved. Let me read just a few of your comments as we are getting into the last couple of minutes of this session. Let me see. Charles says it is important to mention that you should never try to solve a problem you have never experienced. All right. Paul Graham is famous for saying the best startup ideas lie behind our greatest challenges. Brian Chesky was short on rent and had a free lounge. Today, that is Airbnb. He found it hard looking for tech talent, and today we have Andela. Okay, I'm not going to lie that I know what Andela is, but I see what you're trying to say. It's about solving a problem you've experienced, and so you find a solution to that. That makes sense. All right, so I have a few hands up, and so I see 2 hands up. I'm going to give each of you just a minute to either make a comment or ask a question. Let's start with Noel. Noel, please go ahead.
All right, I think Leah can capture this. It's just a basic question whereby it's related to his first presentation. I just want to know what can be a good capital structure for a starter when you're venturing into maybe personal business. What can be a good capital structure? Should you just use your personal money or from the bank, or you have to mix? So I just want to know something from that.
Okay, I think that's quite broad, but I'm going to let Leah respond to that. Leah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so there's some also as mentioned in the chat that usually when you're starting business, and most of the businesses that have succeeded, they usually have a backup, right? So I would not say use all your money for a startup. If you have a good startup idea, try and bring some of your money and bring some other partners on board. So co-founders are good. Try and find if you can get 2 or 3 people who will also bring some of their money. Don't use all your money on a startup. Okay, that's one way. Then Sandy also mentioned competitions. There's all these startup competitions. So if you have a really good idea, you can join some of those competitions. We have innovation center. So in Nairobi, we have, I think it's the Nairobi Innovation Center. Here in Ghana, we have the Cosmos Innovation Center. So look for these innovation centers or incubators where you have an idea, you can go in there, they will help you to structure the idea. If it comes to life, they can also fund it. I would not say that you should use all your money into your business. Although there are entrepreneurs who do that, sometimes you might find that you get into a hiccup, right? So I personally advocate that if you are going to start looking for funds, have some kind of recurring revenue from your business to show that you have customers, and this recurring revenue, you can fall back on it. But if it's just a startup, you could also use family and friends that believe in the idea, bring in their money, but bring it in as a seed investment so that they know that they can get back something when the business starts making money. And then you can also put your money in, but don't put all your money into the business. I would not recommend that kind of capital structure. I would also not recommend going to the bank for a loan and giving collateral, because your business has to have proof of concept. So if it doesn't have proof of concept, or you take it to market and it fails, you end up losing your assets that you used as collateral.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Noel, for your question, and thank you, Leah. All right, so the last question I'll be taking is from Kevin. Kevin, you have just a minute to ask your question. Go ahead. Kevin?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. As I said, my name is Kevin from Burundi, and I've been late to follow this discussion, but what I've followed, it was very, very interesting. So my question is about the startup. As Leah is saying, my question was about what Leah stated, but also there's something that I'm going to add. Then on that question is about, as you know that a startup, it means that a startup, you start a business not knowing that you are getting the profit right now, or after 1 day, or after 1 week, or after 1 month. But as they said, it can also take 3 years to get the profit. Then what can you advise about those people who plan for the starting a business, and they find that all the money that they planned for the business is finishing, yet they are not on the point of getting the profit? Can you advise that these people can stop the business, or they can continue? As Leah said, that she cannot advise people to go for the bank to ask for the loan, yet they are still the startup. and meaning that they are still doing.
I think we lost you, Kevin. Okay, I think we lost Kevin. If I understood what he was saying, he was talking about a situation where you have a business and it's not making the kind of profits that you anticipated, I think, in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, your network was not good. But I was saying the business which is not getting profit, like in 2 years or 3 years, yet your money is about to end. Can you please advise people to go for the in the bank for the loan, or you can advise people to stop doing that business? That was my question. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. I think I had him directed to Leah, so let her respond.
Okay, so definitely businesses will not make profits almost up to 3 years. They'll not be making profit. But what I'm saying is that you need to have some recurring revenue. So you need to build your customer base. You need to do a lot of sales. You need to do a lot of customer relationships so that whatever customers you are getting become recurring customers. So you know that every month you are making a certain amount of money. Once you get to that point where at least every month you are making a certain amount of money, your customer base is growing, maybe month on month you are increasing by 5 new customers. Then when you get to that 2-year point where you need extra money, then you now can go for funding. If you go to a bank and you have a customer base, then you're able to prove that you are making money. But if you are just starting out to go to the bank to look for money, that's not advisable. Yeah. So not all businesses can make profits in the first, second, or even third year. But you need to do what we call cash flow management. Cash is coming in from what you're selling or from the services you're offering. And this cash needs to be allocated to salaries, it needs to be allocated to operating expenses. So how you manage the cash flow is very important so you don't run out of money. But as long as you are able to build that customer base to show that the market is accepting what you have to offer, then you have a case to make when you go to look for funding, whether it's from the circles, whether it's from microfinance institutions, whether it's from the banks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that
if
really.
If I could just add to what Leah highlighted. So I think just to also add what Leah highlighted, as a business, obviously, you would definitely not make money right there and then. But it's also essential for you as a business owner to build data structures for your business. With the data that you generate from the sales that you are doing on a day-to-day basis, it will definitely communicate where exactly you need to focus, because mostly as entrepreneurs, you start on a wide base in regards to products and services. But again, with the recordings that you are undertaking as a business, it will really get to pinpoint where exactly you need to focus and what your customers are not really buying from the products and services. So it means you're cutting down on your costs. And again, you're now focusing all your monies onto key thing that your customers are more interested in. So it makes you even more profitable. So it now helps you, gives you more wide range and understanding to actually now push key things like marketing, so that at the end of the day, you can increase your customer base. But another key thing as an entrepreneur, you also need to look into is if you have, you have startup capital and your working capital, let's say your startup capital is 100,000 kwacha and your working capital is 50,000 kwacha. Clearly, you don't need the 50,000 kwacha, so which will sit in the bank. You can utilize that and talk to the bank and say, look, we have got this amount of money. How best can you help us grow? You can put it into fixed deposit, whilst you have the 50,000 kwacha, that you're using as working capital, you can have the 50,000 kwacha, which the bank can use to generate money for themselves, but also help you generate profit. So it's all those type of remedies that as an entrepreneur you can look into to best grow your business, but also keep you more tailored as you generate revenue.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandy. That was a really great addition to that. I think that we've answered, you really gave Kevin a broad answer on just approaching that situation. So thank you for that. So we've come actually to the end. We're maybe even a little bit out of time, but thank you so much, guys, for joining us this evening. I hope that you learned something. Okay, there are just a couple of comments. Let me see. Oh, yes. If you are in Zambia, download the app, download the Meet in a Box app. The link is there. And follow. I mean, all these guys are actually on our page, and we tagged their businesses. We tagged Growth Africa and Meet in a Box. I mean, follow these organizations and what they're doing, these individuals as well, because they clearly have a lot of knowledge to share from their experience and from the kind of work they do. Okay, and I see, thank you very much, Leah. Oh, Leah wants to say something. Go ahead, Leah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before it escapes my mind, because Sandy did mention data. So as you're doing your sales, make sure you collect your data, get feedback from the customers, get a lot of feedback, and put it in a format that you can use that also to say that this is what the customers are saying about our product. It will enable you to refine your product, and it will also enable you when you're talking to funders to say that we are actually having a conversation with our customers. And then when we had mentioned working the 9 to 5 and also trying to run your business, there's so many apps now that are available for project management, like Slack, like Trello. And then also we have a lot of financial apps that will help you to even record your expenses, come up with reports. So find out where, there's Loiverse, there's Xero, there's different apps available. So if you go online, find apps for your financial management, find apps for managing your team, find apps for project management that are very simple and free for your startup. The more tech-enabled your business is also, the easier it is to keep records, the easier it is to now generate reports that you can use for funding later.
All right, thank you so much for that. So data, guys, I mean, it sounds like you're supposed to keep everything. You're supposed to record absolutely everything, whether it's to do with money or your customers' feedback. You're supposed to record absolutely everything, because all those little details, they really add up. You know, you're going to need them at some point. I mean, even for record keeping's sake, and like Leah and Sandy have both pointed out, there's so many resources now. We can't say that, you know, we can't find this information or we can't find help. There's so many resources online or even in your respective regions or countries, you know, accelerators, these competitions that happen. There's so many things we can really be taking advantage of. We're probably just letting a lot of these opportunities pass us by. We also try to put out as many as we can on ULead, as many as we find, or some that we are also carrying out ourselves. So just stay plugged, guys. Don't allow to not be informed about what's happening. You need to know exactly what's happening so that you can make the most of these opportunities, because they're out there for you. You know, they're looking for you. Maybe your business is the one that someone wants to invest in tomorrow. So yeah, so let's definitely keep on the pulse of everything that's happening. All right, I see a couple of requests to reach. Can someone, Kevin asks if he can get in touch with Leah and Sandy. Leah and Sandy, maybe can we share your email addresses? Is that okay? Okay, let me ask. Okay, wait, no, I'm the one who has them. Maybe could you guys type them in the box so that I don't do both at the same time? But yes, thank you so much, guys. I am also going to, if you really want also those contacts, the email addresses, you can also DM me. If you are on our Telegram group, I'm there. So just look for me, Fiona Kemi, and I will send you, just in case maybe you miss it, but Leah has just sent hers right now. Just in case you miss it, I can resend you that information on our Telegram group, and you can reach out via email to either of them. So thank you so much. A big thank you to our guests. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming to share from your experience and your knowledge. And I really hope the notes have been taken, because you have shared some gems. Let's just call them gems. Some gems have been shared. And I know that a lot of us have taken some really helpful information that we can apply in real life, you know, not just theory, We want to take these things and make them real. So we've taken that information and we're going to do something really good with it. And we appreciate you again, guys, for coming and spending this time with us. I hope that you found something very worthwhile to apply in your life. So that's it for us today. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning, depending on your time zone. And we'll see you next week. Next week, we are discussing a topic that I'm very passionate about: period poverty and educating the girl child. Join us next week. We have some really great guests who are doing work in that field. So yes, join the Telegram group, join all our groups, and we will see you next week. Thank you again, guys, and bye-bye.
Tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika.
His word, he says, and I quote, problem is what? Is inevitable. However, we must be the solution, the inevitable solution to the inevitable problem.
Diego Twahirwa, you can even call him Chiri Man, the man who is doing chiri, who is exporting chiri. Looking at CFTA, how can value chain of chiri accommodate more youth? When we had a bilateral discussion, your problem is supply. The market you have, but the problem is supply. These people that are here, young entrepreneurs, how can we involve them to help you in supply chain?
The big question or the issue that we have is getting the sustainable and reliable market. And we are lucky to have a big demand and sustainable market for them. So with the CFTA, that means like we are open. It's not only, I'm not going only to consider Rwanda as a source of the production or supply. It's open for everyone. Like I was lucky to get a big demand to supply chili to China. And when I signed the contract, everyone said like, how are you going to be able to meet this commitment you're signing? But for me, because I was exposed enough and I know how the order for India or China, it was nothing. And the way they consider Africa as one country, is that I was looking at that framework where I said now, this order is not only for me, it's not only for Rwanda, it's for Africa. And now with this CFTA program, it's going to ease the transaction and also even the move of people, like for the skills sharing. And for me, I had started this on my own, where I was expanding to DRC, to Zimbabwe. Now, with this framework, it's going to accommodate more young youth across Africa.
We need to upload our products there. I need to sit in Ghana and upload this there. And somebody needs to sit in Gabon and be able to buy from us, okay? So your assignment, number one, to talk to Jumia and find out why can't African companies post there. Number two, we've mentioned that everybody is doing business on Instagram, on Facebook. Instagram has something called Instagram Shop, where anybody can sell on, but it's not available in Africa. Why? Why can't African businesses use Instagram Shop? So you guys here, write to Instagram and make sure that by the time we are coming for the next summit, all businesses are able to upload on Instagram Shop, and we are able to make payments through Instagram Shop and buy through Instagram Shop. Number three, do you know Elsa Majimbo? Yes, she was making funny videos on Instagram. Now she's modeling for all the big brands, okay? There is a model in the village who does not have access to internet, and we've talked about it right now, who if they had that access to internet, first of all, they could have skills. We are talking about skills here, skills here, skills here. All you need to do is go on YouTube, and after is not going to wait for us. It's just a document. It's just a document. So we have to make it come alive. And so you have 4 assignments. After is not going to wait for us. It's just a document. It's just a document. So we have to make it come alive. And so you have 4 assignments. Please go and represent us.
We stand at a better position to benefit to support the benefits and the opportunities of the FCFTA that we are talking about. So now we want to reiterate what the minister from Rwanda mentioned, that it is true. His Excellency Wamkele Mene, the Secretary General of the FCFTA, his priority is to ensure that the young people are driving this FCFTA. So we are putting quite a number of strategies in at the FCFTA to ensure that the youth are involved not only in the negotiations, but as well as in the implementation.
As I mentioned, CFTA is a game changer, but to be a game changer, they need to streamline the trade information. That's very critical. And I know in the appeal it has there, but it needs to trickle down to SMEs. The information needs to trickle down to the youth, to the women.
Africa.